Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to the 9 p.m. live English news edition, the top stories. A delegation led by the Ministry of Women and Families, Mrs. Mumin Ahmed Hassan, and the Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity, went to Tajara. Military reinforcement deployment in the massacre zone in Niger. Hello, welcome again. Welcome to our newsroom for having the news in details. A delegation led by the two ministers, the Ministry of Women and Family, Mrs. Mumin Ahmed Hassan, and the Minister of Social Affairs and Solidarity, Mrs. Mona Usman Aden, are accompanied by members of the UNFD. In the first place, Mrs. Hassana, Vice President of the UNFD, as well as parliamentarians from the region, went to Tajra. Upon arrival, the delegation was welcomed by the Prefect of the region, Mr. Hassan Al-Dabali, and the President of the Regional Council, Mr. Umar Hussein. The delegation then went to the Women's Empowerment Center of Tajara to meet with the authorities of the region, the population, and to proceed, to the distribution of the kits to the Community Management Committee (CGC) as in Obok. On the sidelines of the visit, the delegation was received by a large crowd composed of 300 women, and the delegation held talks with the various women's groups of the Tajara region. Discussion focused on several areas, including women's empowerment, access to basic public services for women and families, as well as sensitization to withdraw the electoral cards for the presidential election to next April. In an intervention by the Ministry of Women and Families, Mrs. Mumina Ahmed during the ceremony began by expressing her thanks and gratitude to the officials and the residents of the region for the warm welcome and hospitality, praising at the same time the wonderful work that has been done. The women of the city of Tajura insisted on maintaining the Women's Empowerment Center in the region and on the need to strengthen their various activities in order to improve their living condition. She added, saying that we are on the verge of election campaigns and that this campaign requires full preparation and that we must unite the ranks and do our best to stand by the President of the Republic. Following the example of the capital and other regions within the interior, a delegation of the Diwan Az-Zakat Foundation went to the region of Al Sabih to distribute the collection of Zakat for the year 2020 and the third and fourth installment of orphan contribution. The distribution process took place in the presence of the Deputy Director of the Diwan Zakat, Mr. Elmi Abdullahi, the Diwan Accountant, Mr. Siraj Mohammed, and the First Deputy of the Prefect of the region, Mr. Mohammed Ahmed, as well as the beneficiaries of these social supports. The total number of families benefiting from Zakat income for year 2020 in Al Sabih region was about 106 families, while 80 orphans benefited from orphan sponsorship. It is worth noting that Diwan Zakat, affiliated to the Ministry of Muslim Affairs, was created at the initiative of the President of the Republic, Mr. Ismail Margeli, in 2004 as part of this effort to reduce poverty and revive the third pillar of Islam, namely Zakat. In this logic, the Diwan collects annually the Zakat funds and redistribute them to those who deserve it, in addition to implement the program of sponsorship of orphans launched by the President of the Republic in 2007 to improve the living conditions of orphans, considered as one of the most vulnerable segments of society. Now, under the aegis of the State Secretary for Youth and Sport, the youth of Tajra mobilized to raise awareness door to door for the withdrawal of voter cards. Friday, March 19, 2021, on the high plateau of Dai, the youth of Dai has massively mobilized for the withdrawal of voter cards. The ceremony of the distribution of voter cards took place at the holiday camp. The young people were keen to express the importance of the withdrawal of voter cards. After the event, a lunch was offered by the manager of sport complex of Dai, Mr. Isse, then a short walk in the forest as a token of appreciation. On behalf of the youth and the entire population of Dai, those who have this morning withdrawn their voter cards are already thanked for their commitment and enthusiasm. Following a breakage of the Oniyat collector, which brings water from the Demirjok, Arta and Ali on boreholes to one of the Oniyat catchment areas located in the Arta region, more precisely in the Demirjok, Oniyat agents were immediately alerted and moved to the area in question. As you can see on this picture, the agents of Oniyat are working to repair this water pipe. This breakage has caused the loss of many cubic meters of water, which has caused a shortage of water in the capital and the surrounding area of Demirjok. The Technical Director of Operation, Mr. Ali Yusuf, said that the breakage will be immediately repaired, that these disruptions are only temporary and counts on the understanding of their kind customers for the inconvenience of this situation. Another news now, Air Djibouti, the national airline, organized yesterday evening, Friday, March 19th, a ceremony in honor of young aeronautical engineers, 7 Djiboutian engineers, including 2 girls, a cabin crew who leave for training. The General Manager, Mr. Abdurrahman Ali, and the executive of the national company met to celebrate this departure for training in the presence of the General Manager of Civil Aviation, Mr. Daoud Ali Abdou, and also the General Manager of the Air Force, Daoud Ali, and also the parents of young engineers. These 7 engineers, after initial training of 5 years in China, integrated the Department of Line Maintenance of Air Djibouti. They are now going to follow training related to the basic maintenance of Airbus 320, Boeing 737. This training is approved by EASA, the European Aviation Safety Agency. This 30-month theoretical and practical training will lead to the delivery of an EASA B1, B2 aeronautical maintenance license, which will allow them to join the maintenance department of the national airline at full capacity in order to ensure the maintenance of Airbus 320 and Boeing 737. For the first time, aviation maintenance department will be composed of Djiboutian engineers. Currently, the line maintenance department of Air Djibouti maintenance Qatar Airways aircraft on the Djibouti, Mogadishu, Djibouti route. The strengthening of its engineering team will allow it to expand its customer base. The national airline has focused on staff training to improve their skills and efficiency. Air Djibouti has taken a crucial step in its policy of acquiring its autonomy, which having a qualified staff.
By the company, co-workers and the trainees. For the first time, 7 trainees from Air Djibouti Maintenance Department will go for training to get their basic maintenance course, which will be approved from the EASA, which is the European Aviation Safety Agency. And let it be known that during their stay with Air Djibouti, the 7 employees mentioned had demonstrated strong competence and robust zeal towards the aviation industry, and similarly provided their great qualities as a character and personalities.
In his speech, the CEO of the national company, Abdurrahman Ali, stressed the importance of training employees to improve their skills and efficiency. He said that Air Djibouti has taken a decisive step in its policy of obtaining its independence, represented by qualified Djiboutian employees. Now, the Unfair Association of the District T12 of Balbala closed yesterday its tournament of inter-district soccer. For 2 weeks, the young players of the very soccer team from this vast district of the commune of Balbala participated with enthusiasm in the many games of this tournament. According to the organizer, the objective of this sport competition is to divert the youth of this large neighborhood from juvenile delinquency and illness, but also to promote sports. In addition to the young members of this association have taken part in the closing ceremony of the tournament, wise men of the suburb in an elected municipal several officials and many supporters from the four corners of District T12. Mr. Ahmed Sahel, a young member of the organizing committee, thanked all those who have worked or helped from near or far in the realization and success of this sport program so desired by the youth of these neighborhoods. Now we have just learned the death of Haji Hussein Ali, born in 1928 in Djibouti, and leave behind him a widow and 10 children and 37 grandchildren and 3 great children. And he was the father-in-law of the president of the port authorities and prison, Mr. Abakar Omar Hadi. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Moving now to international news, as I mentioned on the title, the army has deployed reinforcement in the Bani Bango area in western Niger, the scene of a massacre perpetrated by suspected jihadists on Monday, which left 66 people dead, according to a new report the Interior Minister announced on Friday. Other security measures are planned and will be put in place gradually, the minister said, referring to the patrols from village to village and escort to go to the market to buy supplies so that economic and social life can continue. He did not specify the number of soldiers sent as a reinforcement. However, Nigeria's public television station Tele Sahel announced on Friday the reinforcement of the defense and security forces in these areas, with the additional deployment very soon of 500 agents at the end of their training. On Monday, suspected jihadists carried out several attacks on vehicles returning from the large weekly market in Bani Bango in the Tilaberi region, and also targeted the village of Daridai, massacring inhabitants and setting fire to vehicles and grain stores. The National Security Council, chaired Tuesday by outgoing President Mahamadou Issoufou, decided to send military reinforcement and a government mission to the area, as well as a 3-day national mourning from Wednesday to Friday. This is one of tragedy to many. It will not make us back down. We will continue this fight against these terrorists who are without faith or law, because what they have done is abominable, said the Interior Minister, judging that the terrorists are on the run. This is it for this edition of 9 p.m. Thank you for watching us and have a wonderful evening.